And welcome everyone to the Riverside County Board Brief as we give you a brief look at what took place during today's Riverside County Board of Supervisors meeting. My name is Pep Fernandez, and joining us here off the top of the show, she is the Director for the Department of Public Social Services, Charity Douglas, to talk more about Social Worker Appreciation Month. And Charity, first off, social workers out there, why are they so important to us?
Social workers really are the backbone, I believe, to helping people who are in need. We need a world full of social workers who are compassionate and action-oriented and have courage. And so that's why I believe they're important.
And for folks out there that might be watching this saying, I don't know what DPSS, what is that? What is that acronym? Can you kind of explain what DPSS
Sure.
does and what they do to serve the community?
Sure, so it stands for the Department of Public Social Services, and we really are a network of services and supports to serve the most vulnerable populations, children, adults, adults with disabilities, and our goal really is to support them in their highest time of need.
Now, I feel like it should be Social Worker Appreciation Month every month because of
I agree.
what they do, especially behind the scenes. But what would you say, Charity, a personal message to maybe your colleagues and employees out there?
Thank you for your hard work and dedication, your stick-to-itness, if that's even a word. The department appreciates everything that you do to help those who need a helping hand. So thank you so much.
All right, very good. That's Charity Douglas, the Director for the Department of Public Social Services here on the Board Brief. Thank you, Charity. Always appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Charity Douglas. And speaking of great advocates, how about this? The Executive Office giving an advocacy update for the Board of Supervisors today because folks want to know across Riverside County, what is the county doing at the state level? What are they pushing for? What are some of the items that is important to them and the Board of Supervisors? Here is 4th District Supervisor V. Manuel Perez talking about some of those items right now.
You know, there's so many pieces right here to highlight, whether that be SB 75, Senator Ross, the fact that we have a shortfall of judges. Hopefully we can get that funding so that we could increase an additional 23 judges that we need here, or the loan fund that he is advocating for, SB 45, the acute care psychiatric hospital loan fund, which is obviously necessary here. I appreciate the efforts around additional funding for child support services and early childhood education.
All right, and that was Supervisor V. Manuel Perez. Also today during the Board of Supervisors meeting, we talked a lot about the at-home plan brought to you by the California State Association of Counties. Take a look at some video from earlier today. And on our board, we do have the president of CSAC, that is Supervisor Chuck Washington, and we're going to hear from him in just a moment. But at-home is actually an acronym, and it's a plan to address homelessness, not only here in the county of Riverside, but across the state. It stands for accountability, transparency, housing, as you see on the screen, outreach, mitigation, and economic opportunity. It is a blueprint, a framework that counties and cities across the state can use to tackle homelessness, which is obviously an issue across the state of California. Here is Supervisor Chuck Washington talking more about CSAC's at-home plan. And now join us here on the board brief. It is Supervisor Chuck Washington to talk more about the at-home plan brought to you by CSAC, the California State Association of Counties. And we've got the president here of CSAC as well, Supervisor Washington. The at-home plan, for folks out there watching it, can you give us a quick snapshot of what exactly that is?
Yeah, so at-home is an acronym, 6 letters, which represent the 6 pillars of the at-home plan. And I think out of frustration for many years of watching our constituents and their concern about the homelessness crisis, and it continues to grow despite a lot of funding being put towards solving the homeless problem. At CSAC, we finally decided what we need is we need a framework, we need a plan, we need a system that brings all of the entities together, state, counties, cities, to attack the problem in an organized fashion, where it begins with the first letter of at home, accountability.
And Supervisor, you bring us such a great point and a perfect segue in, the different counties and city to city, the challenges might be similar, they might be different, but they want to have a way to combat homelessness at the state level, right? So we all have the same blueprint. We all have the same framework to work from. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. But one of the early recognitions was that in a county or in a state, I should say, the size of California, 40 million residents, 58 counties, and the largest county is really large enough to be a state, Los Angeles County, 10 million people. The smallest population county is Alpine County, 1,200 people. So there isn't one size that fits all for every county. So the plan needed to have built into it some flexibility so that each county, and even within a county, they could manage it in a way, but still within a framework that addresses their needs to deal with homelessness.
And obviously, as the CSAC president and as a supervisor here in Riverside County, it was important to you as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that I'm so grateful for about my time on representing Riverside County at CSAC, but also as an officer, first, second VP, then first VP, and then this year as president, is I've had a seat at the table for many important discussions going back to 2020, when we were trying to really understand how to deal with the pandemic, how to deal with testing, vaccines. That conversation has continued. And I said, this year we're going to make homelessness a priority as we begin to pull away from that pandemic era. And so we truly believe that until we actually have a system in place where there's accountability and everyone has defined roles to play and responsibilities of what they're going to do, we're not going to actually solve the homelessness problem till we set that system up.
Well, Supervisor Washington, we really appreciate the time, and thank you for giving us some clarity, some added information about this at-home plan. And again, it was addressed during today's Board of Supervisors meeting. Supervisor Washington, always appreciate the time. Always good seeing you.
Thank you. I enjoy being here, and I'm happy to come back, talk about the programs at any time.
Hey, you always have an open door with us. You know that.
All right. Thank you.
And my name is Pep Fernandez. We always appreciate you guys watching the board brief, and we will see you next time.